Let's freaking go. Look, the GOAT shocking the NFL world. Or we should have just known when Ryan Tannehill is the other team's quarterback, they're going to let you down. As always, you can never trust a quarterback from Texas 8-4. But anyway, so we got to talk about that. I know a lot of you are bummed out because LSU basketball lost another game, but of course we are LSU football all the time. So obviously, right off the top here, there was an interesting report this morning from Shea Dixon stating that a lot of the older players on the team are going to return next season. And that includes a guy like Todd Harris. That includes a guy like Sony Fanua, that more than likely, those two are going to be back, as are a lot of other veteran players. So that's obviously really good news. And it also looks as if Deion Smith, according to Shea Dixon, he is going to still be around. So obviously, I'm really excited about that. Deion is obviously a high upside player. Raydarius Jones is someone else that could be back. He also reported Ali Gay, Jarrick Jenkins, Jay Ward, Micah Baskerville. We already knew that. So some really good stuff there from Shea at Go247. And obviously tonight we're going to talk about the upcoming recruits, but I wanted to start tonight's live stream off with something that should be blatantly obvious to you. And I understand that we want to talk about the new and shiny recruits. We want to talk about Trevonte Citizen, who is returning to Baton Rouge. We want to talk about JACOBY Matthews. Both of their names are in the title. What about Harold Perkins? What about Danny Lewis? But the guy that I think you should really focus in on, okay? And we're going to get to some of your comments in just a second, is this young man right here. This should be your biggest concern right now. Jarrick Bernard Converse out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Our North Louisiana Tigers know a lot about this young man because he did also go to Jacob Hester University. In other words, Evangel, a really prestigious high school football program that just turns out really good three-star defensive backs. For those that remember Darius Washington, what he was able to accomplish in his career. And Ed is our first super chatter of the night. Thank you so much, Ed. We deeply appreciate you. As always, Ed has been one of our top viewers, and I really appreciate your friendship as well, Ed. So this should be your number one concern. This should be your number one player that you need right now, even more so than someone like Deion Smith, because he does play a huge position of need, which is corner. And Jarrick Bernard Converse was all Big 12 this past season. So if you go into the transfer portal and you're already all Big 12 where you are, he did lose his defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, to Ohio State. So I could see why he entered the portal. But, I mean, this is blatantly obvious, guys. You know he is interested in LSU. There's no other way around it. You don't leave a starter's job just to leave a starter's job. So obviously, I'm really excited about the young man right here, and I'm really excited about you guys tonight in the live stream. So this is the guy. Obviously, you see here 11 pass defenses, 39 tackles, all Big 12. That's obviously all really good stuff. So, why is this thing doing this again? I mean, I thought I could catch a break today. All right, there we go. So, obviously, we're really excited about that young man, and that should be your number one transfer portal target for right now, outside of course, Caleb Williams, and potentially the wide receiver out of Georgia, whose name slips my mind right now, Jermaine Burton. Both of them look like they're not going to LSU. I don't think Jermaine Burton wants to walk into a wide receiver room where he may not even be a top 3 talent in that room. So we will see what happens. Go Bengals from Max Kalina. Thank you so much. That O-line is going to be their Achilles heel. If they play the Chiefs, I think they got a shot. The Bills D-line will eat them up as well as having a better secondary than Tennessee. So what's funny is I actually like the Bills matchup a little bit better. Simply because they don't have Tre'Davious White. And I think that is the only corner right now that could stop Jamar Chase. And I understand that we are mostly focusing in on Joe Burrow, but the truth is Jamar Chase has played better so far this playoffs with 2 100-yard games. His last reception was a thing of beauty where 2 guys had him dead to rights, and he was still able to make something happen. But the truth is, this is the Joe Burrow show. And I got into it a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say got into it, but, people, I'm a big analytics guy. I'm a big stats guy, right? But the one thing I don't like about the analytics movement is at the same time, they don't acknowledge intangibles. Some don't. They don't acknowledge leadership and swagger and vibes. And if you can't see that Joe Burrow has that aspect to his game, I don't know what I don't know what to tell you. Yes, it has been the Bengals defense that has won them these first 2 games. And yes, it does help out that the Bengals played Derek Carr and Ryan Tannehill the first 2 rounds, none of which are big-time playoff quarterbacks. But at the same time, Joe Burrow still played well. He took too many sacks, especially that last sack or that second to last sack where it was clear someone was coming unblocked. I don't think Zach Taylor is that good of a coach either. So, I just don't think Zach's that guy. And I don't think the Bengals can win a Super Bowl with Zach Taylor. I don't think so. Because I didn't like some of the Bengals. They didn't have hot routes. At some point when you give up 9 sacks, it's not your offensive line. It's your quarterback and it's your head coach at the same time. So, Joe, that is something he's got to get better at. He can't take that many sacks. This wasn't even a top 5 Burrow performance. But if you can't see that he is the difference, and if you can't see what he's done to that locker room, and if you can't see or at least understand that it is important to have the swagger at the quarterback position, then you're too shoved up the a-hole of the analytics. Trust me, talent matters, analytics matters, stats matters more than the intangibles. But the intangibles also really matter as well. You got to have that aspect of your game. You have to be a leader. You have to look into the eyes of everyone in your locker room. And we all know Joe can do that, right? Let's go to Cliff, the PHL president. And Max, you're right on the money about that Bengals O-line. It's just so bad. PHL dudes, let's go. Who has more work to do, the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator or Frank Wilson in recruiting? Also, do you see the skill position rotations tighten up with the new staff? Okay, so let me change this poll question for you, Cliff. Let's see here. We've been doing this with the t-shirt while I type this out. The next person that gets a t-shirt, the first person that gets a t-shirt for the next few live streams, you get an autograph card, right? So, boom, we're giving away a Michael Clayton card. As many of you know, Michael Clayton, one of the best. And this is a sticker auto out of 970. So, if you're really a diehard LSU football fan, you know how important this MF guy was to our LSU movement. So, the next person that gets a PHL shirt, you get a Michael Clayton card. Let's go on ahead and put this up here for Cliff. All right. All right. You see Matt House, and then all right, let's do this for Press Cliff. All right, new poll question is up. I don't know who's trashing Joey B. Sounds like some thong-wearing Twitter keyboard warriors. Everybody's gushing over Joe, and rightfully so. Yeah, and it could just be that it could just be that we're overstating Joe Burrow's leadership. It matters. It really does matter. You could see the difference between him and Ryan Tannehill, right? Joe Burrow's got to clean up the sacks. It really is bad. But once he cleans that up, he's going to be unbeatable. Thank you, SMU Fan Videos, for the subscriber the subscriber shout out. Appreciate you. And let's go to KMC. All respect, Carter, you're overrating LSU's wide receiver room. The young guys have flashed but haven't produced enough to have that type of confidence. I disagree with this for this reason, KMC, okay? So look historically at LSU wide receivers, okay? Look historically at them. And you see that out of all the great LSU wide receivers, every single one that has ever existed, I would say probably 4 out of every 5 of them had their first big year in year 2, okay? And this goes along with Cliff's super chat. The first thing is the rotation needs to tighten up. And I hope Cortez Hankton comes in and does that, right? That's the first thing Cortez Hankton needs to do. And Trey, we'll get to your question in just a second about Joe Burrow and the sacks. Okay. The skill position room needs to tighten up. In other words, you need to shrink your rotation. It doesn't need to be a 10-man. It doesn't need to be a 10-man rotation. It's just, you can't do that. Now, to tie in the wide receivers to Cliff's super chat question, you look historically at the LSU wide receivers, every single one of them almost had their first big breakout year in year 2, okay? Terrace Marshall, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase, they weren't at their best in year 2, but they had their first breakout all-SEC caliber year in year 2. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, the same thing. Their first real year of dominance was year 2, okay? Now, you can keep going down the list of every great LSU wide receiver, and most of them are year 2 breakouts. So you mean to tell me after one really good true freshman season where Jack Besh had an amazing year, BTJ had an amazing year, Malik Neighbors was all SEC freshman, you mean to tell me that not one of those 3 guys steps up into superstardom? At least one of them will. At least one of them, if they haven't already. So I totally agree that you should be skeptical of the young guys, but at the same time, history tells us that one of them will step up into the holy F territory of being an elite wide receiver. Dallas Stars. I went to my first ever hockey match not too long ago. Actually, a week ago, or no, Monday, I went to my first ever hockey match. Good to see you. Thank you for the subscriber. Shout out. So, Cliff, my answer to this here, to your first question, let me see what the poll actually says here. President of PHL, Mike Denbrock has the biggest task ahead of him at 42%. Yeah, I think Frank Wilson's going to be fine. I would Mike Denbrock. I would, because, first off, you got to figure out who your quarterback's going to be. It looks as if it's going to be Miles. And then the second thing, you got to figure out that offensive line. So, I would say Mike Denbrock. I would. Frank's got a lot of work to do, but I don't think it's going to take him too long to get the fence around the state. And then the defensive coordinator, Matt House, yes, I am concerned about the turnaround of not being a DC for a few years. And Matt House has only had one dominant year being a defensive coordinator. But at the same time, I do feel better when you have Mace and Illinois and B.J. Ojolari on your front, and now Ali Gay coming back. So we shall see with that. So let me get into this really quickly, okay? How can Joe Burrow clean up sacks? He needs an offensive line. Well, he absolutely can. right? So there was a study that showed that quarterbacks have more to do with their sacks than one tends to believe, right? That the quarterback's ability to hold on to the football too long is actually constant behind whichever offensive line they are behind. So someone who is criminally bad at holding on to the football too long is Russell Wilson. And it's been consistent before he had the offensive line he has now, before he had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He's always held on to the football too long. So, yes, the Bengals offensive line is atrocious. But at the same time, you go back to the second to last sack, right? It was a zero blitz against a 5-man protection. Number one, it was a bad play call by Zach Taylor. And number two, it was on Joe Burrow because you have to throw that ball hot, but there was no hot routes being run. So that's not on the offensive line. That's not on them. They actually did their role. You leave the outside guy unblocked there. So, yes, Joe Burrow needs better offensive linemen, but at the same time, the quarterbacks have a lot to do with the sacks. So trust me, we're all big Joe Burrow fans here. Even he would acknowledge that when you get sacked 9 times, sometimes some of those sacks are on you, right? So you've got to help out your quarterback. You got to help out your offensive line. What's up, Jared? Jared's Coast Garden tonight, cleaning up an oil spill. Thank you so much, Jared, for taking care of that. With BTJ and Hilton coming in to spell Jarrick and Malik, or vice versa, who knows what happens? Yeah, Chris Hilton was never healthy this year. You never know if he's going to emerge and be the best out of any of them. So I feel confident in this offensive line room, this wide receiver room. But, to go back to KMC skepticism, it is also going to come down to Kayshawn, right? Kayshawn is just so much better than all those guys, right? I think there's a pretty big gap between him and all of them. It's not to say that the other two, that the others aren't great. It's just Kayshawn is closer to like a Jamar Chase or an Odell type of playmaker than he is just, just a good wide receiver, right? So, it's a difference. It's a big difference, right? Jesse, we'll settle up after the live stream, right? And I'll tell you what to do, and I'll send you some stickers and bands, man. Big news that Deion might be staying. That makes the wide receiver room deep and talented. It's funny. I like Deion a lot. I don't think it changes a whole lot. Now, if Deion turns into Justin Jefferson, maybe. The thing, though, about this beast deal that is very important as far as that is concerned is, yes, I really freaking do want Deion Smith to turn into Justin Jefferson. But we need to find who the real difference makers are and stick with those 4 or 5 guys, right? So let's just say Chris Hilton doesn't make that jump and he doesn't join into that more elite company that he doesn't need to play, right? So we've got to tighten the rotation, like Cliff was saying. That's why Cliff, did what he did. Kayshawn, Neighbors, Jenkins, BTJ. I'm fine with that rotation. And Jack being the 5th. I still think the best wide receiver rotation would be Kayshawn, Jack, BTJ, and Jenkins. I'm a big Jarrick guy. I love his intangibles. I love his leadership. And he's just good. And he's clutch, right? He knows how to run routes. He knows how to break off routes. He's good in the red zone, good to get behind safeties. Not a real burner, not a game-changing type of player, but he's really, really freaking good. And I'm just a super Jarrick fan. Jared, thank you for the super chat from the Coast Guard. It's cold. We'll put some headphones on and just let these hot takes warm you up, baby. Let's go to Seth. The reports are JM2 and JCB are locks for LSU, and Citizen is leaning LSU. So you heard it here first from Seth, okay? You heard it here first. That Johnny Manziel, with this final year of eligibility, is coming to LSU. I love you, Seth. JM2, I see ya. I see you with that scoop, baby. Johnny Football. I'm guessing JCB is Jarrick Bernard Converse. I don't know who JM2 is. Citizen is leaning LSU. Oh, Jacoby Matthews. Okay, there we go. And I don't know who JCB is. I guess it's Jarrick Bernard Converse. I felt bad for Kirsten Fulton today as well. It sucks when you go up against one of your best friends. There's just no other way around it, right? If you've never competed against a friend, it does kind of suck. But, you just got to go out there and rip their throats out. I mean, it's kind of hard. Reed, I agree with you once again. I got a really cool call, right, about Caleb Williams this weekend, as far as what he is actually looking for out of a school. And let's just say that there is some money involved into the decision-making process here. Dude, if I'm Caleb Williams, look at what Jamar Chase did for Joe Burrow. No way I'm passing up the chance of playing with Kayshawn, but Caleb will chump out. I agree with you. I just do. I think you're right on the money. I agree with you too, Cliff, as well. You know what's interesting? So obviously Brian Kelly's a big film guy. That is something Ed Orgeron and Les Miles, they watch the film, but that wasn't their specialty, looking at film and making adjustments, right? So I think one thing Brian Kelly's going to be pleasantly surprised by when he looks at the film is Jack Besh's blocking wasn't bad. Now, it wasn't phenomenal. It wasn't George Kittle, but it was really freaking good for someone who's never done that, right? So I do think Besh will get to play some tight end this year. I don't think it's for certainty that he makes the full-time transition to being, a slot, right? Jack's got some A.J. Brown to his game, but I think he can for sure be a blocker. Reed's going all upside here. Butte, Besh, BTJ, Neighbors. Let Dre and Chris battle it out for fifth. Danny! Jack Besh is a wide receiver. Let him be great. So I need you guys to help me out here, right? So I don't like to keep a game on in the background, right? So I could just focus in on you. I do, however, have Packers minus 5.5. And I did parlay it with the Bengals +4. So I'm going to need updates when they score, right? Let's see. How'd I scare the heck out of you? KMC. You won't find a bigger Jarrick than me in the LSU media sphere, right? Yeah, Brandon, I hate this. A lot of you have been dealing with this, right? And I hate it, right? I have a close family member, or not family member, one of my closest friends' fathers dealing with it serious. This thing is very real, right? Once again, I know Mick had been going through it. I know Jared just got over it. So, I see Besh as he flex tight, not primarily a wide receiver. I remember from film studies, he's blocking. There you go, Danny. That's why you got to watch these film studies, baby. Let's go. Huh? Danny watches our film studies. You'll learn something. So I always say this about my film studies, right? I'm not a coach. There are so many far smarter people that do film studies, right? I just give you like the most basic knowledge that I gathered when I played, right? And when I played any sport, I had to be one of the smartest people on the field because I was 5'7" and I ran a 5'2" 40. So I was slow So I had to know every last little thing about every single sport I played so I can get just that little bit of an advantage so I could play, right? Welcome to the channel, Abby. I think I've seen you in here before, Abby. Enrollment period at US January 6, 2022. So Caleb better make a decision quick. I think LSU has a shot at Caleb. I think I agree with you. We say Alesco. We say hi to Ryan. So yeah. Here's the funny thing about it, Danny, is that you don't have to play, right? You can gain a lot of football knowledge on YouTube and Twitter, right? Like QB School is great. They break it down really well over there. JT O'Sullivan. And yeah, football can be very complex. You don't have to know cloud coverage or fire zone or green dog blitz. You don't have to know all that, right? But it gives you a better understanding. I think the number one thing people need to understand to get the first basic, like past the basic knowledge of football, is understanding gaps and techniques, right? What a 3 technique is, what the A gap is, what the B gap is. I think once you get the lines down, you're then able to, because once again, I'm not good at pass coverages. I'm not good at passing routes. But I try my hardest, right? So I think if you learn that first, it goes a long way, right? A gap, B gap, C gap, right? The A gaps, gap between the guard and the center, right? B gaps on both sides, guard and tackle, and then C gap, tackle and tight end if there is that. Appreciate you, Jesse. I just try my best, man. I get Caleb Williams might be a play, but what does it hurt to play the game just to see? Yeah, nothing at all. Look, I understand that there are a lot of you that are worried. Well, if we get Caleb Williams, what happens to Garrett Nussmeier? What happens to Miles Brennan? How does Walker Howard feel about it? And this is what I say to every single person that brings that up. Who cares, right? Who cares? We got to do what's best for the university. And Caleb Williams would be the absolute best thing for this university. Now, that doesn't mean Miles Brennan and the other 2 can't be superstar quarterbacks. They very well could be. All 3 of them, I think, can be a 9-10 game winner in the SEC at LSU. But at the same time, Caleb Williams is the real deal. Now, he sucked at times, but he was also playing as a true freshman. He wasn't even supposed to play this year. So yeah. This is an interesting comment here. Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia, right? Big talent, 6'9" tight end. So Georgia's got one of the best college tight ends I've ever seen in Brock Bowers. So Darnell could come here and immediately be the tight end 1 in an SEC Power 5 offense that features the tight ends more than anyone else. Your offensive coordinator is a tight ends coach. Your head coach has put more tight ends in the NFL. Their Notre Dame backup tight ends make it in the NFL. They get drafted. So this makes a lot of sense, Bruce. It really does. And I appreciate you, Bruce, as always. Yes, Jesse. And it's this simple. If we did a college quarterback draft, right, Bryce Young would go number 1. Caleb Williams probably goes number 2 or number 3, just depending how you feel about Stroud, right? Stroud's better in Ohio State system than Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams is just a better player, right? And this could be true here as well from Skipper. So there you go. 7-0 at the half. There we go. Pace says Washington is a freak tight end, but still not sure how good of a tight end he actually is, if that makes sense. I get what you're saying, right? As far as like the do-it-all kind of thing, the blocking, the route running and all that stuff. I get that. He's tall. It's tough to get low if you're 6'8". Joanne, I think everybody agrees with you here, right? So here we go. We're over 100 people. So when 100 people get in here, I see 1,000 comments come in. The first thing, right? The first thing, guys, we need you to change your avatars. Okay. Be like Bruce. Show that beautiful face. Be like Danielle, right? Be like Skipper. I need you to change your avatars. It makes it so much easier for me, right? And it makes it better for the channel, right? The second thing is obviously, I go to your comment immediately when you super chat, Venmo, or Cash App. And for those that don't know, boom, the first person that buys a shirt tonight gets a Michael Clayton autographed card in your t-shirt order. You get a t-shirt, you get a sticker. We could throw some booger bands in there for just a little extra. And there you go. You want it. I need someone to get a shirt tonight. Medium, large, extra large, and 2X. Reed, I need you to change your photo. Like Titus. Look at this beautiful family. Look at you, Titus. I see you. The burner YouTube accounts. Huh? No, Danny, a lot of people have this opinion, right? But here's the thing. It is a non-zero chance that one of the three transfers anyway, and then you're left with two. So that's all there is to it. Actually, I saw this today on Twitter too, Chris. Caleb packed this stuff up. I saw that, right? They put it on a trailer and he's out of there. Come on to Baton Rouge. Rodney, welcome to the channel. Rodney Dangerfield. How much do you think top 5 recruiting classes will cost going forward? So here's the funny thing, Rodney, is that they were already expensive. Look, Louisiana kids are always going to come to LSU, right? They just will. So I wouldn't worry too much about recruiting classes at this point. I just wouldn't, as far as NIL and all that stuff. But is it going to cost more? Yeah, I mean, yeah, players get money. So there you go. Wait, hold on. Did y'all smell that? Oh, yeah, it sounds like an excuse. Smells like a stinking excuse here from Pegasus. It became a 30-minute hassle. A 30-minute hassle. 30-minute hassle. And what's funny, Pegasus, the person or the company that writes my checks actually has a search engine. I think you've heard of it before, called Google.com, where you can type in there, how do I change my Google avatar? And from there, you'll figure it out. Come on, Pegasus. Here's what we're going to do. Pegasus, I'm looking at you right now. I'll never bother you about your avatar if you super chat. I'll never do it again. But I'm going to make an ultimatum just for you, Pegasus. I will block you in the next chat if you do not change your avatar. block you. I'm kidding. But super chat. LOL. I'm actually good with Brennan starting next year with Howard taking the red shirt and Nuss and Howard battling out after that. Don't need Caleb Williams. I agree with this as well. Right? You don't need Caleb Williams. You just don't. LSU can win 9 or 10 games next year with Miles Brennan if the ball bounces your way. 10-3 is possible. It's possible. Is it likely? No. It's possible, though. Right? I think one player that is very underrated in all of this is Ray Darius Jones, right? He's got some real top end ability. Rodney, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate you. And Rodney, you get to pick the next topic, man. I did also hear that as well. Texas A&M paid $30 million for their latest recruiting class. So what? They're going to go 8-4 next year. Yeah, who wouldn't want him, KMC? Who would not want Caleb Williams next year? I know I do. You're telling me that we can get a top 5 quarterback in the transfer portal, especially a dual threat quarterback, which definitely helps out if you don't have a great offensive line. You know, if Miles Brennan is your quarterback, got to have protection. Cliff says, I want Nuss and Howard to stay. That's why. Well, tell me this. Why is it important for him, for both of them to stay? Let's just say LSU does land Caleb Williams. If they do, he starts 2 years, right? And then you could figure out who your next quarterback is within the next few years, right? Once all the great Louisiana kids realize that if they stay home together and go to LSU, the Tigers become the next great SEC dynasty. Boom! There you go. It's right there. Bruce, maybe you should tell that to Arch Manning, who had Nick Saban watching him play basketball, and Saban was in the rafters watching them. But this is true, right? It's the dream to play for LSU. But at the same time, let's just take somebody like Austin Osbury, right? Whose dad has been, involved with LSU. A lot of good with LSU, but also a lot of really, really bad with LSU. Austin Osbury, lived in Baton Rouge his whole life. He wanted to go to Auburn. Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, right? That you want to go try something new. I totally understand that. So, I get why some kids want to go somewhere else and experience a new culture and experience a new fan base, build their own identity, build their own legacy. I totally get it. But there's nothing like being a homegrown LSU talent, right? It goes a long way. Slim Wall, welcome to the channel. Why does anyone believe that Miles can even stay healthy? He hasn't shown that he can do it. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's true. He's been very banged up throughout his entire career. Some people think he's been hurt before 2020. So that's all there is to it. We welcome in Sir Van Lathan. Thank you for the super chat. My friend Van. So Van, you get to pick the next topic. Rodney Dangerfield, I'm still waiting for your super chat question. I know you asked about Texas A&M and their $30 million payroll. Let me see if Rodney got his other question in. Rodney D. All right, Van, you get to pick the next topic. LSU also offered a couple 2023 quarterbacks already. Are saying we have to do that either because we'll lose some QBs we have. That's ridiculous. Yeah, here's the thing. quarterbacks, it's so random, right? It's also random. It's rare when you have what Alabama had this year. 5-star quarterback, ready to start year 2, wins a Heisman Trophy at his first stop. That's actually more uncommon than it is common, right? The more common thing that happens is 5-star or 4-star quarterback transfers and go from there. So there you go. Tommy says Van was our best interview yet, and we're working on getting more interviews in. That's tough, Tommy. Blake was great. Jeremy freaking Hill was great. Van was a lot of fun. There's few times I've laughed this hard during an interview than with Van. Even though Jay Hill was surprisingly funny. I didn't know he was that funny. I talked to Jay Hill on the phone for about 15 minutes, like 2 days ago. And Jay Hill has just got one of the most affable personalities I've ever encountered, right? It's just crazy how seamless, our interviews go. I've been on his show, and obviously he's been on mine. And the same thing's true with Van. Let's talk about the QB room for next year. How much development from Nuss do we need to see for him to compete, to be a start, to be a capable backup? So this is a good question. Let me actually put this up, Van. So Mike Dimbrock won this poll here, the biggest task ahead of him, and I actually agree with this. And we are right at 100 votes here. Let me see. All right. So this poll question is for Van. Do you believe Garrett Nussmeier is a future 9+ win quarterback at LSU? Now, let's ask this poll question first. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Do you believe, or let me for just next season, all right? The poll question is long-term for Garrett Nussmeier, but just for next season, do you trust Garrett Nussmeier as the top backup quarterback for LSU? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Do you trust Garrett Nussmeier as the top backup for LSU next season? Carter the GOAT has that John Trey Kirkland IQ. I love it. I don't know why my mic keeps getting unplugged. Hey, man, I actually met Miles Brennan's parents. Are really nice. There you go. Welcome to the channel, Memphis Gaming. I don't know why you're crying. Let's see. Patrick Tomlinson. What's up? He says no. S. No, because Walker Howard will pass him on a depth chart. Have to. That wasn't the question. Kelly said QB competition will be wide open. I hope it's true. If Walker is the best to play him, can't worry about class. Same with Nuss. Interesting. Okay, so let's change with the question now. Okay. Do you believe Walker Howard should be the starter next season? Let's start with the bold, and then we'll do, water down from there. Come on. Come say hi to Van.
Hey, Van.
There we go. All right.
She was on the bed asleep.
She was sleeping? There you go. So much shuggy. There you go.
Can y'all notice how calm she's gotten?
She's getting better. You got her, baby?
Yeah.
Let's see. Ronnie, we'll get to the super chat in just a second on Coach Steeples. Let's see. No.
I know it, baby.
All right. No.
Zana, wow.
Disagree with him starting year one. You're a Brennan fan club council member. Okay, so a few things on Walker Howard, right? So he had a bad leg injury this year. Now he tried to play on it. I do think he ended up playing a playoff game or so. It was a really nasty, leg injury. And the thing about Walker Howard that's very interesting is he's not really played that much. He was only a year 2 starter this year. So as actual playing snaps are concerned, he doesn't have many of them. So I don't think Walker Howard is a year 1 guy. The second thing I'll say is, as far as Garrett Nussmeier is concerned, and full disclosure, I'm a big Walker Howard believer. I don't think anybody is ready to play year 1. I just don't. I think there are very few elite players that are ready to do it. Like, obviously, Caleb Williams was one of those guys. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence. You have to be developed athletically. And I don't think Walker Howard is in his truest form just yet. Also, he's not the absolute biggest guy. So I do think it is better for Walker Howard to wait a year, especially since LSU's offensive line next year is going to be revamped. Okay, so Van asked about Garrett Nussmeier as far as his development is concerned. And it is a good question, right? Because we don't have a large sample. So the only game that we saw Garrett Nussmeier really play was the games as a so in garbage time do some magical stuff versus Ole Miss, and his Ole Miss performance was by far his best. We saw him in garbage time in 2 games earlier this year versus McNeese and Central Michigan. Obviously, the McNeese performance was better. He put some balls on the money. They weren't necessarily completed, and he also made some bad decisions in both of those games. But the Arkansas game is where things really began to fall apart for him. And it was in large part fell apart because Jake Peets called the worst play call I think I've ever seen, which was that Wildcat, which was the lowest negative EPA play of that game. So in other words, the analytics showed that was the worst play call, not only in terms of, just EPA, but just, even if you take the analytics out, the momentum, right? If you actually do believe in momentum. Garrett Nussmeier was not the same quarterback after that. And leading up on that drive, he had 2 really nice completions on that drive. And then after that, he just could never muster up the confidence. He started throwing bad picks. He started panicking a little in the pocket. And so it's wild. It's wild. So, the first thing, Van, I would say about Garrett Nussmeier is he is an improviser. He is a playmaker. Now, here's the thing. If you are one of those kinds of quarterbacks, athleticism does matter. And while Garrett Nussmeier has a really, really good arm, he's not the fleetest of foot. Now, he can move. He's not a statue. He is not Miles Brennan. But at the same time, he's not a Manziel type of runner, right? He's a Manziel type of quarterback, but he can't run like Johnny. You're not going to get, a 60, 70-yard rushing performance from Garrett Nussmeier. So that's why I think those game reps were important at the end of the year, because when you're in high school, you're faster than the defensive ends you play against. In college, you are not. And that is where things really become an issue, right? So Nuss is quicker than Miles and Max, but at the same time, he's not a plus athlete, right? He's a good athlete. It's not special, right? He's not big homie. Welcome to the channel. I don't think he's Jalen Hurts. I think Hurts was obviously a really, really good athlete. Welcome to the channel, Jordan. Well, welcome back to the channel, Jordan. Brennan probably gives you the best chance to win next year. Barring ridiculous jump for Nuss, I don't see a true freshman start day one. Yeah, I agree with that. Nuss is definitely more talented than Brennan, but I think Brennan can be more consistent and do what you need to do for a quarterback to put you in a position to win. Nuss may lose you some games as he develops. Debo! Oh, Joey B. the GOAT. What's up, JL? Good to see you. Just talking about you a minute ago. So let me know and answer your question about our dear beloved Garrett Nussmeier. Okay? Now, I want to go back to this really quickly. Let's talk about the QB room. The second thing here, Van, it is different, right? So for me, when I did Garrett Nussmeier's film study this offseason, there was something very interesting, right? Garrett Nussmeier had the highest completion percentage of any senior high school quarterback ever, right? And of any senior high school quarterback that has ever come to LSU. He had the highest completion percentage in the 9 games he played in 2020. He was phenomenal. That year, he was really phenomenal. I was even taken aback by how good he was as a senior at a really high level of football in Texas. So it's interesting. Now, this is a let me know what you guys think about this. I have a sneaky suspicion that the starting quarterback isn't on the team yet. All right. Jay Hill says Nuts has arm talent, but I think Walker makes him hit the portal. Interesting. All right. Ryan has a juicy question here. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Does LSU get another quarterback out of the portal? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Kind of free. But did he have really good wide receivers in high school catching those balls? Did that make him look great? Just asking. It's a really good question right here from Danny. Thank you for the super chat. A lot of you say Y for yes. A lot of you say N for no to that question. So, Danny, yeah, he did. Actually, he had J. Michael Sturdivant, who went to Cal Berkeley. So, his wide receivers actually were really good. Now, going back and looking at his high school film, a lot of it was Nusso making plays, right? JL says, I don't want another QB because it will create a huge portal situation. Yes, for Caleb. I think everyone in here would want Caleb Williams. Well, not everyone. I think it's about 60-40 people that want. We actually did a poll question on this. It was about 60-40 people that wanted Caleb Williams. Let's see, but it's just not going to happen. It's probably going to go to USC. This is just true. And welcome back, Whitney. Good to see you. That's the only thing Reed and I will ever agree on. They scored 7-3. I need the Packers to cover 5.5. This actually is a really good Walker Howard comp. Souped up Baker Mayfield. I could see that. They are very similar, right? Size wise, arm strength wise. I think Walker's arm's actually a little better too. That's actually a really good comp. I like it. I haven't heard Baker yet for a Walker comp. So I wanted to show you this. One of my favorite LSU players of all time just liked this tweet that I posted. And you guys know, Twitter's not my absolute favorite. I do spend a lot of time on there. So I shared this tweet. Joe Burrow playoff wins 2. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Tua, Dak combined 2. And Terrence Tolliver just liked to tweet, guys. Terrence Tolliver. You guys know how much I freaking love me some Terrence Tolliver. Florida catch, Tennessee catches. Love me some Terrence Tolliver, baby. Let's go. Who remembers that Texas A&M game? That was a year before. Actually, that was 2 years before you played Jay Hill. A year before you got to LSU. Terrence Tolliver, 3 touchdowns in that Texas A&M game. And that was Tyrann Mathieu, arguably his best game, was that Texas A&M bowl game. Terrence Tolliver, just like this tweet, guys. I'm pretty excited about that. I think Terrence Tolliver is so underrated. I could write a whole book on how underrated Terrence Tolliver was. Let's see. Jeremy Hill, I have said why. Yeah, it's true. Can I please get a shout out from the GOAT? Go Tigers. Well, there you go. Jay Hill, Memphis wants a shout out. No, shout out to you, Memphis. Memphis, very underrated city, man. Very underrated. Central Barbecue chicken wings. Whew, they're so underrated. If you go to Central, you got to get the pulled pork nachos on house chips. Extra Q sauce, baby. Let's go. And get a side of chicken wings. Ooh, baby, 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 baby. Dun, 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 dun. Man, I'm getting erotic thinking about those chicken wings. Whitney. My guy, I love that, man. Cheers to you. Man, I'll shave my chest if this prediction comes true. Fred, what's good? I'm not even doing anything. Whew. All my life, I pray for chicken wings like you. Who's going to be the first member of the T-shirt club tonight? I have a feeling these T-shirts were a flop. Now, Jay Hill's a member of the T-shirt club. Danny will be a member of the T-shirt club. First person. Okay? First person that gets a shirt. You get a Michael Clayton autograph card. Are you kidding me? This is LSU football royalty. And you're also getting a bunch of other cards when you place an order with PHL, baby. We also got booger bands. 1 for 10, 2 for 15, 3 for 20. I'll even throw some in here for the next T-shirt buyer. Who has not joined the Booger Band Club? Fred, I have no idea. No idea. I think the better question, Fred, is will Sting go in the top 5? It's a big boy for life. When I sing about chicken wings, you know, you don't stop the chicken wing flow, baby. Jesse's going to join the Booger Band Club tonight. I'm just trying to figure out who wants to join greatness. Who wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves? I know King Robert's a part of the Booger Band Club and the T-shirt club. Next month after you pay Uncle Sam, I totally get it. Yeah, I agree with this as far as Walker Howard is concerned, right? I don't think you want him playing in year one anyway. I just don't think you want that. Right? Uh-oh. J Hill, let me know if you're still in here. Mary Rose is from J Hill's city. Well, I didn't say this right. J Hill's most underrated LSU running back of all time is Stephen Ridley. And Mary Rose is a proud Natchez, Mississippi native. Oh, Ryan? You, Skipper. Skipper joined the T-shirt club. Round of applause. Skipper. There you go. So Skipper gets a Michael Clayton autograph card. Oh, my goodness. Are you guys looking at greatness right here? You're a bandwagon LSU fan if you don't know about Michael Clayton. That's all there is to it. So congrats, Skipper. You're a member of the T-shirt club. Matt Moscona thinks I'm the most underrated. I may have to agree, but Rid was a dog. Yeah, you know what's funny? Underrated is very subjective. I think everyone knows how great Jeremy Hill was, right? I think most people know the name Jeremy Hill. The most casual LSU fan probably knows that, right? But when I think of the term underrated, I agree with you, J Hill. Stephen Ridley was so underrated, right? The Tennessee run is there. You go, Skipper. I think you already have my email, Skipper. Shoot me an email here in a second. Let me know your T-shirt size. I got a Michael Clayton card, and tell me some of your favorite LSU players. I'm going to throw some cards in there as well. And this is what I like about Stephen Ridley, right? So the Tennessee run is still the most underrated run in LSU history because it was so loud in the stadium. The left side of our offensive line did not fire off. So Stephen Ridley had to gain that yard by himself, and he still barely got in there. It Ridley was just a monster. He was clutch, right? So there you go. And I think I did send it to you. Let me shoot me an email afterwards, Ed, or yeah, my Facebook. We'll talk after. But yeah, he played fullback for 3 years and rushed for 1,000. It was truly an amazing thing, right? I don't think anyone thought Ridley had that in him, but he did, and he balled out, and he was good in the NFL too. And both of y'all were Patriots too. With Trevor Lawrence came in halfway through because Kelly Bryant couldn't get the job done, and Lawrence had a stacked team around him. Yeah, it's true. I mean, that Clemson defensive line is still probably the best of the modern era. You know, that Bama line with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen and those guys were really good, but still. And then we had some good ones too, right? Lavelle Williams and those guys, right? Spears. Have Joey B win an MVP next year? I could see it. I could absolutely see it. Yeah, Ed, you mailed me a check. I haven't been able to get to my P.O. box, but I'll go ahead and send you your stuff anyway. Let's see. So Walker Howard's not a 5-star anymore? Is that what you're saying? Let's see. He's not. Walker Howard is not a 5-star anymore. Nor is JACOBY Matthews. Interesting. So Walker Howard has been sliding in the rankings. He was number 21 and the number 1 overall quarterback. Look, I'll share my screen right here. I haven't seen this in a while. Once again, you don't check the rankings as much as you used to. But here you go. Look at that. Ryan, thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you, man. They took one of Walker Howard's stars, and Jacoby 247 is so full of it. Y'all see this? It does look as if Walker Howard's 5th star was taken away. Look at you, Reed. Look at you. Jordan, who do I have to fist fight? So I understand it's the composite, right? So it's not just 247 doing this, it's composite ranking. But it is interesting though. Like, I look at the quarterback rankings, and I might get old Tate exposed on this, but I'm going to go through all these players, and I've watched a good bit of their film. And these are my he was previously the number 1 quarterback, right? So this is how I view each one of these quarterbacks. I think Cade Klubnik is the real deal. I think he is underrated, and he would probably be my number 1 quarterback. Connor Wiedemann, I'm okay on. I think Ty Simpson's pretty good too. He's got a lot of Manziel to his game, right? He is a real playmaker, and he's got some dual threat capability. Now, what's very interesting is Drew Allar is loved by 247, but he's not loved as much by the composite. Drew Allar is 247's number 3 overall player. I think he's fine. I'm not in love with him, and he's also going to Penn State, which I don't believe in James Franklin as a quarterback developer, right? Obviously, Walker Howard, how I feel about him. Devin Brown, I think he's fine. Once again, Ohio State, that's such a tough place to even win the quarterback job. But, I think Devin's okay. Gunnar Stockton, I like a decent amount. Once again, I think he's okay. Sam Horn, I like a lot. AJ Duffy, I like a lot. Nick Evers is very interesting. He was a late flip from Florida to Oklahoma because of the coaching switch. I think Malik Murphy's a little overrated. Brady Allen is very interesting. Him and Taven Jackson are both similar prospects. They're both in Indiana. Actually, I do like Brady Allen a lot. Taven Jackson's high school stats weren't that great. And I also think Nate Johnson's very underrated. Very elite dual threat quarterback. A far better runner than he is a thrower. But he's just a super athlete. Jordan, that's spicy. That is take. You think Klubnik's a little overrated. So he did play at Westlake. Their team is always loaded. They went on a 2-year run at the highest level in Texas. That was really special. He obviously beat Quinn Ewers head-to-head last year. And I could see that, right? They run a very quarterback-friendly offense, but Klubnik is just a plus athlete, sees the game really well, and I just think he's going to be really good at Clemson. I think he'll be the guy next year. I think DJU will stink it up again next year, and I think I think Klub will take over eventually. That's true, Chris. That's true. Yeah, I think Klub's really good. I really do. Right. What did Danny say? These ranking systems are political BS like everything else. We put too much stock in it. While a few people sitting in a basement discussing these kids think about them. But that's me. I'm sitting in, well, I'm not in a basement per se. But no, I get it. I totally get it, Danny. And look, once again, that's the composite, right? It's not just 247. That's ESPN. That's Rivals adjusting their rankings. It's a lot of other people. So there's a difference between the 247 composite scores, what you saw just then, and the actual 247 rankings. Just off tape alone, I don't see anything crazy. Just looks like he hits the open guys, good accuracy. I could see that. Once again, if you really want to see a magical tape, Ty Simpson's tape is redunculous. He does some ridiculous things. So here's $1 million question here from Fred. Is Arch Manning overrated? I saw him play versus St. Charles Catholic at SLU one night. He a star bump because of his name. Well, look, when you have the last name Manning, just like when you have the last name Johnson or when you have the last name Nussmeier, when your name is attached to, a family-friendly name, a name that you're accustomed to, it does tend to sink in your bias, right? It can, especially if your last name is Manning, right? So do I think he's overrated? Do I think he's a little overrated? Yes, I do. Now, once again, it's kind of hard for me to judge Arch off of his junior tape, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what he does as a senior. But yeah, I think he is probably a little overrated. Memphis says, I live in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and we have an 8th grade quarterback that runs a 4.7 40 and throws 50 to 60 yards with the flick of the wrist. And if he ever gets an offer from LSU, I'll try to convince him. Oh, Danny, you did a $50 super chat? Man, Danny, don't play with my heart here. Quit playing games with my heart. My heart. Yeah, Skipper, don't forget to send me an email. Danny, go. Elias Durant. JL, I know it's very early in your media career, and I know I've talked privately that I see you getting on SEC Network. I see you doing ESPN and all this stuff in your future. But it's funny, JL, that I don't think anything will ever top Elias Durant. I don't think anything will ever top it. It just rolls off the tongue. It's a perfect pun. Everything knew what you were talking about. It's just so perfect. It was just so perfect. King Roberto. Everybody, bow down to the king. Robert runs PHL. Robert and I had a very good FaceTime yesterday. I enjoyed it. Robert, one of my BFFs. Yeah, BFFs, me and Robert. Thank you so much, King Robert. And it's interesting, right? Robert, what did we say yesterday about the Bengals, baby? They were going to shock the world. Exactly. Speak of the devil. How about that, Joe Burrow? Yeah, I know, Jay Hill. I know that feels good, right? Now, something else I really liked is Jay Hill. Your Instagram last week was perfect, right? Your Instagram photo was just absolutely perfect. I know you, of all people, were the most excited about the Bengals playoff win. Really happy for you, man. Go freaking Bengals. Oh, yeah, Ngannou's fighting tonight. I like it. Wait, who's Ngannou fighting tonight? I'm still kind of crushed. Our guy DP got beat. Skipper, I'm going to send you a Jamar Chase card. I know you're a big Chase guy. Oh, Fred cost me $50 because you mentioned Arch Manning? Fred! All right, Jay Hill, have some fun, man. Yeah. Pegasus, I have not. I like their interface. Once again, Shannon Terry, who started 247, started on 3. I don't know how I feel about the NIL evaluation thing, right? Here's my thing about advertising. So I don't have any advertisements on my channel. I don't have a sponsor of the channel. I have a relationship with Underdog Fantasy, and I'm very happy to have that. And we did really well with that. We really did with all the fantasy football stuff, right? And I got a lot of feedback that so many of you enjoyed the fantasy football. You know, this is a thing, right? You are what people will pay you to do, right? I really do believe that. So, as far as NIL is concerned, different people can be different spokesmen for your product, right? So, for instance, the one thing I saw a lot last year, the position group that I think cashed in the most on NIL, outside of the obvious, big name quarterbacks, was the offensive line. How many offensive line deals did you see last year with NIL? You saw a lot, right? So yeah, different products need different voices, right? If Victoria's Secret came to my channel and said, "Hey, we want you to be a spokesman for our products," it wouldn't make a lot of sense, right? But if Insert Chicken Company decided to come to my channel, it makes a lot of sense because I love chicken and you guys love chicken. I appreciate it, Michael. Great show on the voice of college football. Yeah, Mark's really good, right? He does all the teams. And I had a very nice comment under that video. Someone said, "Hey, this guy needs a national show." So hopefully, at some point, I get to start a national channel. I'm obviously all focused in on LSU and doing what we're doing now. It's important that you guys keep watching because this is what I do for a full-time job. And I have a bunch of huge life events coming up, and all your super chats and all that stuff really help out big time. Right. And I love developing relationships. So like with you, Michael, and Robert, and obviously Cliff, who's the president of PHL. Robert is the king of PHL. Danny is the Georgia president of PHL. Max is the New York president of PHL. It's cool, right? We got a great community, and it's cool because, we have a bunch of cool people watching us, right? So yeah, we got fun guests. We got all kinds of cool stuff heading your way. We actually, coming up on the channel, one of the number one team sideline reporters in the NFL is going to be on this channel, and you're going to love her. So she's going to be coming up. Can't reveal who it is just yet, but she's going to really bring the house down. You're going to love it. What are you saying here, Danny? I'm going to make clickbait YouTube announcing Caleb Williams seen wearing a purple shirt and gold socks at a Red Lobster. Ha, 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 ha. That's great. That's so great. Yeah. Cool, Skipper. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go. Aaron, what's up, man? I get this a lot. Have you ever coached football? If you did, which side would you coach? So, believe it or not, I know Jay Hill just left. Jay Hill gets that question all the time, right? I get it from time to time. Did you coach, or did you play at LSU, or did you play anywhere? I did not play college football anywhere, and I've never coached, right? I don't think I'm smart enough to be a coach. It's always been something that I've wanted to do, because I knew how much my position coach, not only in football but in soccer, they influenced my life, changed my life, right? So that's why when you hear or you see someone like Dwight McGlothern say, "Well, I'm all in on LSU. We're still DBU." After time, you're like, "Well, I did lose my position coach. Maybe I do want to go somewhere else." Things aren't the same when you lose your position coach. It sucks, right? So, part of the reason why I wanted the coach is because, I had the influence of, my position coaches, my soccer coach, my football coach. They changed everything for me. They really did. Ooh, Aaron's the president of PHL Baton Rouge chapter. Ooh, Aaron, I don't. That's tough, man. The BR chapter. Do you know how many viewers we have in BR? That's fine. Memphis, do you know Coach Steve Jones, head coach of Ocean Springs, played in the state title versus South Panola? Captain said, Les Miles as a head coach. Don't got to be that smart. True. I always got to stop the chat to shout out everybody from New Roads. Yeah, my heart, Jeffrey. I'm a New Roads guy as well. You don't get down with New Roads, Louisiana. I can't get down with you. New Roads is, I consider New Roads home for me. I do. Baton Rouge and New Roads is home for me. Let's see. Oh, my girly lime beer. Crocs. Let's see. Carter, where do you rank LSU QB room amongst the SEC West schools? That's a good question. All right. So, Fred, you are one of our newer viewers, so spend some time on this. Billy, good to see you. Thank you for the compliment there. Let's see. So Alabama's number one, right? Number two is probably Arkansas. I put KJ number two. Then number three, I think those are the clear cut 1 and 2. Then you can make the case for LSU at number 3, right? I think there's a pretty good gap between 2 and 3, right? Now, what's interesting is like a lot of middling SEC quarterbacks have transferred to other SEC schools, right? So, yeah, I think, I guess I would say whoever Lane Kiffin's quarterback is going to be number 3, and then I would put LSU number 4, right? But yeah, as far as what they have in their room right now, LSU's number 3. Blake's already been on. Blake was our last guest. You need to go back and watch it. I know some of the material in it is dated, but and we talked a lot about Blake's history and how he got into the media. It was really good. Georgia, I think Fred said the SEC West. Let's see here. Was there something else I wanted to get to tonight? Oh, yeah, Brian Kelly's win-loss record. Let me see. Oh, yeah, Will Rogers. Thank you, big homie. Mississippi State slipped my mind. So Will Rogers is definitely number 3, right? I would take KJ over Will Rogers, though. I would. So, yeah, Will Rogers is definitely number 3. So then LSU and Ole Miss is probably 4 and 5. And then I would put Texas A&M 6, Auburn 7th. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about I don't know how I feel about the rest. So yeah, I was just trying to think. I was like, I know I'm missing somebody. So I would say Rogers. I'd say Rogers. I think he will, Jeffrey. It's just going to be hard to do so this year. Can football season just start next week? What's the guy? I don't think Will Rogers is a game manager. I don't. I think I think I'll do a really good job, obviously. But no, I don't think Will Rogers is a game manager. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I think we need to discuss how we need a real center and not a project person turned into a center, and how we still need tight end depth. Yeah, we definitely do. Definitely do. Billy says, Carter, how would you rank the transfers overall that LSU just received? And do you think more transfers are coming within the next few weeks? I do. So I led the live stream with this, right? This is the guy that's going to be the most discussed transfer over the next couple of weeks, right? Jarrick Bernard Converse, and he has 1 year of eligibility left. He's from Louisiana, and he is in the transfer portal, and he was all Big 12 last year. So why would you enter the transfer portal? Well, Jim Knowles, his defensive coordinator, went to Ohio State. So that's obviously huge. Can't wait for the mile sleep to the end. 228, baby. So Donovan, okay. So Donovan is a real Miles Brennan believer. I love it. I love it. So first thing, I got to show Donovan some love here on Twitter, twitter.com. Right. This was crazy. Donovan said this about me earlier today. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, let me see. I'm getting there. Boom. This is obviously great. I'll show you guys this. Boom. So, Tigers Avenue podcast had this tweet out in the famous meme, LSU Twitter, AFR Jordy Collada Show, AYS. And then Donovan said, crazy concept, like them all, but Carter the Power is the GOAT. I really appreciate you, Donovan, for that. So here's how I feel about this. I'm glad you super chatted as well. I'm not the best on Twitter, right? I'm not the best at like giving LSU news out. I just kind of like to just spout my opinions on Twitter. It's part of the reason why I don't have a lot of followers on there. I'm a YouTuber all the way to the end, right? I don't really get the appeal of Instagram. I know I have a Power Hour LSU Instagram. It's just not for me, really. I might start posting more on Instagram. I like Twitter a lot, though. I really do. Big homie, welcome to the channel. How crazy is it that LSU Southern game is going to be a must-have ticket? Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. Jarrick is the son of Brian Converse. Brian was my number one receiver at Baker High. That's cool. Aaron is like reliving his high school glory days in our live stream tonight. I love it. I freaking love it. It's always good. In response to Billy's question, how many recruit transfer spots should we keep open after spring ball when others jump into the portal? Okay, so the good thing, Danny, is that LSU is nowhere close to filling out their slots. So I don't think you have to necessarily worry about preserving slots at this point. So that's a good thing, where like last year that was not the case, right? So there you go. Y'all, the Packers need to cover. Has San Francisco just shut down Aaron Rodgers? I know they drove and scored a touchdown like right off the jump. I need a Green Bay cover. It's amazing the harsh realities of having Jimmy G and Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. We got some JT Daniels. Loving here. Trenton the Sip, I have not welcomed you to the channel. What's up, Trent? Shout out to my guy, Nick Suss. RD! Oh, man, about time. Yeah, I had to chastise you for not jumping into our live streams. All right, so what was your excuse? You shot me a let me see what your excuse was. Roger's excuse was, I miss you too, man. I was in BR for a week, then I went on a cruise. I'm working. Oh, congrats on a new gig, man. I believe Z is the number one LSU fan, period. Creek, good to see you. All right, Billy's getting a new avatar. Reed, I'm going to keep bothering you about it. I'm going to block you, Reed, if you don't change your avatar soon. I don't know why everyone just doesn't pull an Aaron, right? Just show off that six pack. Every single one of you has six packs. Memphis, we are doing good in the portal. I love it. Trent, man. So, Trent, what's the latest with Ole Miss's quarterback situation? Are y'all going to roll with that number 7 kid in the Sugar Bowl, or are y'all trying to get JT Daniels? Packers held on 4th down? I just need Green Bay to cover 5.5. Oh, yeah, I know Chris Coase. I see him in here every now and then. I love me some Chris Coase. Chris Coase is, and we use the term goat in sports. Chris Coase actually owns goats, which is cool. Come on, Green Bay. I reuse bacon grease. The side chat has been kind of weird tonight, and I love it. I reuse bacon grease. Let's see here. Oh, man. Okay, so I would like it if LSU took JT Daniels. I think he fits what LSU wants to do with the offense. He has mobile and has a good arm. All right, Reed, this is where our agreement ends. I don't think JT Daniels is worth the quarterback reshuffling that would come along with it. Caleb Williams is, not JT Daniels. No, not for me. Not for me. It's not to say JT Daniels won't be a great college quarterback somewhere else. I just think JT Daniels, I just, even though Miles' sample is small and JT Daniels has a larger sample, in his freshman year he was, not spectacular, but he was fine. I just still think, though, I don't know if there's a difference between JT Daniels and Miles Brennan at this point in their careers, right? So yeah. Why do we want the Packers to win? Driving up the price of Rodgers, and the Saints need Rodgers. I just think it's going to be hard, Danny, at this point for the Saints to not roll with Jameis again. I just think that they're going to roll with Jameis again and try and fight their way again with an elite defense. Saints defense had a top 5 defense this year at their peak, right? So I don't know. I don't know. JT Daniels is a good QB, but not at LSU. Miles greater than JT. Stop the sleep. Donovan's a true Miles stan. If Miles balls out next year, I'm going to shout out Donovan because you've been on it. I've got a keg. You do? Full of what? Craig, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. You get to pick the next topic, Creek. Winston's a clown? Really? I don't think he's great. I think Jameis Winston is closer to Ryan Tannehill than he is Joe Burrow per se. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming to New Orleans. I think the better option for the Saints would more than likely be Russell Wilson. And there are legitimate rumors with Russell Wilson and the Saints, right? I think Russell Wilson is to the point, and this is what I truly believe, right? You always hear me preach this on this channel. Everyone thinks being bad is the worst thing for your team, that you have a bad quarterback or that you have a bad coach. But being bad is not the worst. The worst is when you think someone is actually good, but is actually bad, right? I didn't say that the smoothest. So, for instance, we knew quickly that Urban Meyer was a bad NFL coach. There wasn't any glimmer of hope that Urban Meyer was going to work at Jacksonville. So at least they fired him quickly. The worst is when you think someone is good, but they actually are bad. No, the 49ers did not just score. No, stop it. God dog it. This is why I don't watch these games. When I needed to get this parlay, what happened? I hate each and every one. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. How did they score? It was a block punt? The Packers special teams have been so bad all year. They should have fired their special teams coach after that Bears game earlier this year, where they gave up 1,000 block punts. Wait, what is this? I got to drive from Shreveport to LSU to deliver a physics textbook? Physics? Really? Physics? You need a textbook for physics? Guys, I'm fired up. $200. A blocked punt. Fire the special teams coach. Oh my goodness. Isn't it crazy though? Aaron Rodgers, so he had the failed special teams. He had the failed special teams mistake in that Seahawks game, right? Where they couldn't recover the onside kick and it cost Aaron Rodgers a Super Bowl. Now you get the block punt. You know what's Reed? I'm a big Russell Wilson guy. Obviously, he ended the season really strong, right? He had 2 big-time performances. But But still, it did look like he was a little stiff. He didn't look as fluid as he normally does, right? So it's going to be interesting. He's played a lot of football up to this point, and I still believe in him. I still think you trade everything to try and get him. But here's the thing. He doesn't throw to the middle of the field, holds on to the football too long. So, yeah. I think the last time the Bengals went to the AFC Championship, they beat the Bills to go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Niners of Montana in 1988. Is that true? Right? What was that? Was that the Chris Collinsworth Bengals team with Boomer Esiason at quarterback? Is that it, Michael? Oh my goodness. If the Packers don't cover, I'm going to be full triggered, right? Because I mean, I hope Green Bay doesn't settle for a field goal. Oh my God. Divorced your first wife in 88? Oh my God. That is the worst way. You actually bet on the Bengals that year? Big Al, good to see you. My God, dude. I'm triggered. I'm triggered. Triggered! I cannot believe that. Cannot believe it. You give up a blocked punt. A blocked punt. What kind of world do we live in giving up a blocked punt like that? You give me another drink?
No. You won't?
Yeah, with that one. Put it on.
I had to show you this screenshot that Lindsay took of the guy at a bar in Dallas.
Huh?
And I told her, I said, you don't even know.
No! Did they block another one? Did they just block another one? There's no way. There's no way.
Joey B, one of his subscribers, hand painted this.
Did they block another one?
Do you want another shot then?
Yes, please. Did they block another one? Is it Rodney Dangerfield? Don't tell me that they blocked another one. Huh? Oh. Porn star Jimmy Garoppolo. My room is not clean. It is a mess. I still got my Vegas suitcase in here. I do. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off right now. You can't give up a block punt when they haven't been driving all game and they need a touchdown. You lose all your leverage there. I'm gonna put it in the freezer for a second.
I'm finna go to bed, player. You better take it just like it is, baby. I love you, but Z-Baby is tired. Love you.
You too. Guys, I'm hurting right now. Well, no, I could have put in. I could have put it in the freezer myself. It's just I would have had to leave you guys. I normally like to. Arden Keys on the 49ers. I didn't know that. Crazy. Max, you took the 49ers outright? You missed your chance, Pegasus, as you failed to change your photo. No, I don't think it matters really. 49ers have already beaten the Packers. I mean, the 49ers have already beaten the Bengals. I still can't believe that, right? I still can't. You don't. Guys, you know how I feel about this. Don't give up a block punt TD. Don't give up a block punt TD. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. All right, guys, I'm going to watch the end of the game with you guys. I was going to sign off and watch the end of it. We're at 2 hours anyway. This is the NFL. This is the NFL, right? This is supposed to be the highest level of football, the best coaches on the planet. But no. He is really good, right? And he was the truth in college, too. Oh, my God. It's just a brutal way to lose your cover, a block punt TD. It's brutal. It's brutal. You have to force them to score a touchdown. Just don't let the punt get blocked. It's not hard. It's really not hard. You can't just let. I didn't even see that it was like snowy out. Oh. God, that was a good throw. You think they would guard Debo, right? NFL, where grown men cry. Oh, that was a good old-fashioned angle route from Madden. The push and P trend on Twitter. But anyway, we're at 2 hours here. We'll keep this thing going for the next 5 minutes. But if you super chat, we'll keep it going. But in the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many LSU-related questions as we possibly can. Kind of weird, kind of a dead 2 days of LSU football news. Danny, I didn't get to watch a second of the basketball game, but go right on ahead, right? We're at 2 hours. We'll talk about non-LSU football. So there you go, Max super chatted. So there you go. Oh, Robbie Gold is their kicker? Oh, man. This game's over. Reed, I'm sorry, I'm not a JT Daniels believer. Mm. Yeah, this was going to happen, right? Obviously, LSU had been playing with house money up to this point, right? They were exceeding their own expectations up to this point. I don't think anyone thought LSU would be what they are now, right? They were a 2 seed, closer to a 1 seed than a 3 seed about a week ago. Now they've lost all these games in a row. This was bound to happen when you don't have your 2 best scorers from the transfer portal, the kid from Illinois and Pinson, the Adam Miller, and then the kid from Mizzou, Pinson. You're going to not be able to score in the half court. And a lot of these college games are decided in the half court. Get me angry. So yeah, it's all there is to it, right? The hardest thing in the world to do in the game of basketball is to put the ball, which is only half the size of the circumference of the hoop, through the hoop, right? It's an extremely difficult thing to do, especially when everybody is athletic as you are, right? The one thing the NBA does is it misleads us thinking that there are more people who can score the basketball than not. Whereas in the college game, there's just not a whole lot of people that are really good at putting the ball through the hoop consistently, right? And then that's a college game for you. And if you lose the 2 best people or 2 of your better people when it comes to doing just that, you're going to lose some games. You can only defense your way to a certain amount of victories. At some point, you've got to have guys that can just go get you a bucket. Speaking of Madden, watching a throwback game today where he was a commentator on Wow the Inside. Yeah, Madden's the best to ever do it. And I'm not just saying that because he's dead. He's the best to ever be on a microphone. There's no way Debo just got that first down. Are you kidding me? Now they're definitely just going to play for the field goal. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he got hurt, too. What a day. What a day. Guys, it's it doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense. So now Green Bay is going to take a timeout and get it to the middle of the field. Oh, man. You just can't give up a punt return TD in that spot or a punt block TD. So what happened after the Packers' first drive? San Francisco just won? My stream is behind. 49ers. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Blocked punt TD. Ugh. What a game. What a game. I didn't get to watch any of it until like these final few plays. Oh, that's true. Garoppolo versus Brady in the NFC. Doesn't Tom Brady just get every last freaking break? He gets every little break known to mankind. The only team with no former LSU players. So, Jesse, you don't need to be a Packers fan anymore. They don't have any former LSU guys. Why would you still be a Packers fan? Finally headed home. There you go. All right, guys. We'll keep this thing going. Once again, I'll answer as many LSU-related questions in the next 5. Matthew Stafford versus Jimmy Garoppolo. Just like we all expected it to be, right? This is a good question here from Captain Kenneth. It's not synonymous, right? It's not synonymous. Are LSU or New Orleans people big LSU fans? I would think so, but it would seem like there's a weirdness. It's not 100% synonymous like a lot of people would expect it to be. It's pretty close, though. I would say probably 75% LSU fans or Saints fans, right? It is different, though. I do think there is a little bit of a gap. I think the first thing, obviously, is the first thing is that there's a lot of Mississippi Saints fans, right? So there's a lot of Ole Miss fans that are also Saints fans. Some of that is Deuce McAllister, but a lot of it is just the simple truth that that's the case, right? So yeah, I think there's a little bit of a bleed over there. I think the second thing, Kenneth, is your question is, are New Orleans people big LSU fans? No, they are. I thought you were saying Saints. My bad. Yes, New Orleans is a big Saint, the LSU area. Absolutely. Obviously, it's different. Lafayette's a little bit different in that aspect because UL's there. But even though Tulane is in New Orleans and there's other universities there as well, obviously New Orleans is Saints first. I'll put it this way, Captain Kenneth. I would say the city of New Orleans is Saints first, LSU football second, and then Pelicans third, right? And that's with an NBA team in the actual city. But yeah, I do think New Orleans people are big LSU fans. I do. Yes. And this is also true. There's a lot of, once again, we talked about Natchez, Mississippi a little bit earlier. There's a lot of LSU fans there. So there you go. Well, all right, guys. We'll be back on Tuesday night for another live stream. Hopefully on Monday, we'll have a new video out, and it'll be a lot of fun. Don't want to miss out on that. But next live stream will be Tuesday night. Enjoy your, what is it? We'll keep it going here. The NBA needs another Iverson, I'm telling you. What are you talking about? There's John Morant. He's right there in front of you. John Morant is this generation's Iverson. Just as good. Obviously has more hops. So, yeah. But I don't know if anyone will ever have the same cultural relevance or the type of cultural relevance that Iverson had on the NBA. It was crazy what he did to the NBA. And I love how random this super chat is. Allen Iverson. I was a big Iverson guy growing up. I had his shoes. I love me some AI. But all right, guys, we will see you Tuesday. Okay. Once again, big congrats to Skipper. He joined the T-shirt club tonight. So congrats to you, Skipper. And it is. What are you talking about? Oh, you're saying there will never be another Iverson. I got you, Jesse. It is. Power Hour. LSU. Boom. Oh, we're doing pork chops tonight. Let's go. Let's go.